we think it's maybe time to take a second look at a topic that's largely been dismissed here among those of us that work in conservative media, those of us that consider ourselves to be patriots, and we have dismissed it as well. But over the weekend, I had an epiphany. And I thought, you know what? Maybe those that have been warning about this in the past few years, maybe they have a point. Today, I would like us to address and just give it a chance. Don't get immediately defensive, dismiss it, pull a Mike Tyson and turn off your station. Let's not be the cancel culture, the closed-minded. We've already got a spirit of the age movement willing to do that here in America. Let's be the folks, the side that's for open and free and fair debate. So give this a chance. We'll give it a fair hearing, and at the end, we'll make our own decision what we think. Because we think on this program, it is time to take another look at something that may be a clear and present danger to the culture. Of course, we're talking about toxic masculinity. What happens when a culture listens to weak and deceptive men like Anthony Fauci? Sadly, its citizens are uninformed, victims of flat earth voodoo. That's why it's time, way past time, for conservatives and patriots to finally admit America indeed does have a toxic masculinity problem. So let's address it, because the only antidote to toxic masculinity is the truth. Remember, as we approach the 1-year anniversary of 15 days to flatten the curve, the original rationale given for the lockdowns was to save the hospital system from being overrun. And yet, check out this chart. Currently in America, less than 3% of all emergency room visits are for COVID-like symptoms. And only once this entire pandemic have we even been above 8%. And I'm guessing that is a heck of a lot lower than most Americans probably believe if asked the question, given the nature of the panic porn media coverage. So from the very beginning, the rationale for lockdowns, that we would overrun the system with COVID patients. Have there been individual hospitals? Sure, but never at any point, as we approach the 1-year anniversary of 15 days to flatten the curve, never at any point has the American hospital system been overrun because of COVID-19. It's just simply not true. Another example of toxic masculinity. Never forget this.
David, we're standing by for Governor Cuomo's press conference, his daily briefing. How would you contrast Cuomo and President Trump's handling of the crisis?
Truth versus mendacity.
Governor Cuomo out there day after day after day, everything Trump isn't. Honest, direct, brave.
Real leadership of the kind the President of the United States should have provided.
Governor Cuomo is clearly living in a totally different reality, the actual one, than the President of the United States.
Governor Cuomo has become a national leader.
For a lot of people, Andrew Cuomo has become the leader of the Democratic Party.
He is conveying incredible strength.
You spoke to National Guard troops today in a stirring speech that, if I wasn't listening carefully, I thought you were sending soldiers off to war.
This has been a remarkable show of leadership by Governor Cuomo in recent days. He's providing hope, but not false hope.
Governor Cuomo, I think, is one of the heroes on the front lines.
With all of this adulation that you're getting for doing your job, are you thinking about running for president?
Andrew Cuomo, who has a daily television show now and has become in some ways the shadow president.
Maybe Trump is just a little bit mad that Governor Cuomo has become a kind of acting president.
Dealing with hardship actually makes you stronger. That's what Governor Cuomo said earlier today. That's what I'm going to go teach my kids right now at home.
We can do it. We know that when you do it properly, you bring down those cases. We've done it. We've done it in New York. New York got hit worse than any place in the world. and they did it correctly by doing the things that you're talking about.
Maybe we enlist you. I'll do it with you. We'll do an ad telling New Yorkers it's safe to take the vaccine. To put us together. We're like the modern day De Niro and Pacino. You can be whichever you want. You can be the De Niro or Pacino. Fauci and Cuomo. I'll give you a front. Who do you want to be, De Niro or Pacino? Which one do you want to be?
I love them both. I love them both. I don't want to insult one or the other. If I say one, I don't want to hurt the feelings of the other.
Yeah.
So either one.
Who's the politician?
Indeed, as you are reminded of all those orgasmic outpourings from Cuomo-sexuals, never forget this. Andrew Cuomo sent thousands of American grandparents to their deaths, thousands of them. Don't ever forget that. No matter what else will come out or will be said, and I believe we are now up to 5 sexual abuse or harassment allegations against Andrew Cuomo. And as heinous as that all of it is, never ever forget, however, the thousands of dead he is responsible for. This is what toxic masculinity does to a people. Unfortunately, not even the picture of vigor and robustness that is the President of the United States, Joe Biden, is immune to toxic masculinity. Look what happens when he listens to the likes of Fauci. Just a couple of months ago, the president saying, quote, "Things are going to continue to get worse before they get better." He said that back on January the 21st. Since January the 21st, since he said that, assuming he's listening to Dr. Fauci, cases have gone down in America 71.3%. That's a lot. And that would be the exact opposite of it's going to continue to get worse before it gets better. And then there's the masquerade. Check this out. A worldwide survey by the University of Maryland has tracked mask wearing over time. Here's the results that they found for the UK, where Boris Johnson, the prime minister there, has been unfortunately infested with a devilish case of toxic masculinity. And you compare the UK with Sweden over the fall and summer, and what you find is that the UK, when you look at the data, the UK has done demonstrably worse than Sweden, despite the fact that it reports mask usage up to 80% in the United Kingdom, and in some places in Sweden, mask usage is in the single digits and doesn't even come up to 20%. Of course, if masks save lives, why don't they save lives? Let's look at our own country, for example, as we move to this next one.
Things like universal mask wearing, honestly, I mean, that is just completely contrary to the science as well as common sense, to think that you must wear a mask when you're in the middle of a desert, when you're in your car alone driving, when you're bicycling through, St. James Park. This kind of stuff is nonsense.
Is it nonsense? Is Dr. Scott Atlas from Stanford University, is he correct? Well, this survey shows results of American mask usage alongside the ebbs and flows of COVID cases here in the United States. As you can see, our maskful obedience, it did absolutely nothing to stop the epidemiological curves of coronavirus. American mask usage is there. That's the dotted line on the graph. And as you can see, the cases went down, went up, and went down, no matter what we did. Now, weirdly, Texas and Mississippi were criticized by Fauci and others filled with toxic masculinity, including the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, for daring to end their masquerades. Yet, how does Governor Gavin Newsom explain this? This is deaths per 100,000, worst states in the country. Los Angeles, even though it's a county, is included because if it was its own state, it would be amongst the top 10 most populous states in the union. And there you can see, just not even California as a whole, but Los Angeles County, despite 11 months now of some form of lockdown and masquerade, one of the worst death rates in the country. By the way, you'll notice there's not a state listed there that you've heard quite a lot about. There's a missing state, the state of Florida. Not on that list because you've been lied to about Florida. Since January the 30th, senior cases have gone down 71% in the state. 71%. Senior hospitalizations in the state of Florida are down 80%. That should be celebrated. No? How about numbers like these? 40 states have suffered a higher COVID mortality overall than Florida, which again is in the top 3 for population and in the top 2 for elderly population. 40 states have a higher rate of cases per capita since Florida reopened on September the 25th of last year. 36 states show a higher increase in all-cause mortality year over year from 2019 to 2020. And then there was that, of course, super spreader event known as the Super Bowl they held down there in Tampa a little over or almost exactly a month ago. Tampa Bay health officials who were threatening to put the maskless in jail a month ago now admitting Super Bowl was not any kind of a super spreader event. Finally, here's a story being largely ignored by the media that also lies to you about Florida, which is odd because it comes from a place where a lot of the media folks live. Effective March 19th, Connecticut, one of the bluest of all the blue states. Part of the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, that was the hardest hit overall, overwhelmingly by COVID. Connecticut is lifting all capacity limits on restaurants, retail, libraries, personal services, indoor recreation, gyms, museums, offices, and houses of worship on March 19th. All COVID social distancing restrictions are lifted in the blue state of Connecticut. Funny how you're not hearing more about that. I mean, a lot of the media people live there. As we approach the 1-year anniversary of 15 Days to Flatten the Curve, isn't it finally time, my fellow Americans, to rid our culture of this toxic masculinity once and for all? It is painfully clear that straight white males in power like Anthony Fauci cannot be trusted. Straight white males like Anthony Fauci have wreaked enough havoc. Look at the pain toxic masculinity has inflicted upon our children. In the last year, overdoses, 119% increase. Anxiety, a 94% increase. Depression, an 84% increase. Once and for all, conservatives and patriots can no longer ignore toxic masculinity. There are too many straight white males in positions of power, and this white power structure needs to be removed, dismantled, destroyed, starting with Anthony Fauci.